Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Round 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup was filled with overtakes, crashes and close finishes. The series now heads to the colossal Nordschleife for 3 races on one of the most demanding circuits on the planet. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. I have once again alongside me Aaron Smith, and Joshua Wilkie is bringing you this broadcast on our YouTube channel. And last time out at Watkins Glen was thrilling. It was genuinely one of the best races I can recall commentating on. The field was so close, the racing was so intense, and we head to a very different circuit, but a circuit that is also sure to deliver plenty of drama.
Couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest. We're going to have very, very different racing here at the Nordschleife. It's kind of like Monaco in a way. There's not really that many places to overtake. It's quite narrow, very, very challenging. But unlike Monaco, it has a very, 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 very long back straight, which possibly we'll see on the last lap. People dive bombing into the final few corners, and if we get anything similar that we had at Watkins Glen, this is going to be a fantastic watch. And these Porsche Cups always seem to deliver, no matter what league you're watching. And it's always so much fun to drive and even better to watch.
Let's have a quick look at the championship standings. Only 1 round complete. There are 10 rounds, so there's plenty of time for this to change. But it was a perfect score last time out for our championship leader, Gabriel Salomon. He has been promoted to the pro category, up ahead of Godestad and Moldovan. You can see some pretty good scores there. In the pro AMs, we've got Eric Rousset leading the way, ahead of Tiago Pereira and Igor Kos. And still fairly close in that one. And in the AMs, it is Gordon Marshall leading the way by a decent margin, actually 13 points. We almost time for Gordon last time out, 13 points ahead of Astvalg and Moliord. But already the drivers are in a qualifying session, and it's the length of this circuit causes problems for league admins. We have to change the format for this car. Usually we would have 10 minutes for each car category to go out on track, but instead we've just got 20 minutes because the track is so long. 10 minutes wouldn't be enough for the drivers to get in multiple laps.
Yeah, Nordschleife always likes to make things a little bit more tricky, but we let it slide. It's the Nordschleife. I think we can We can just let it change up the rules a little bit. It always provides some amazing racing, and sometimes these qualifying laps, depending on the race, can be more entertaining than the race itself, because all these onboards, you get to see these drivers chuck it around every single corner, trying to find that little bit of time. And, well, I have the feeling that whoever we see be quickest here today could be the main championship contenders, because this track does bring out the best of drivers. Little bit sketchy there for Igor Kos as he gets a little bit twitchy all over the curbs, but it's so impressive what these drivers can do around here. And yeah, I believe they can get 3 lap times in if they don't mess anything up. So they have a few attempts to try and get that pole position, but at the moment it's Rudinger with a 38.5, almost a second ahead of the man in second place.
Yeah, usually that would be a colossal margin, wouldn't it? But 9/10 around this place isn't quite as dominant, but it's still a nice margin for him to have. Of course, these guys would have been practicing these Porsche Cups in the official series for the past week. And by the way, we have a massive, I can't even tell how many cars it is. It's over 50 cars. I think we've got about 52 cars tonight. One of them is Nick Horn. Welcome to Liam Slips Diffs. It is Nick Horn in this splits. Yes, he is. He has not yet set a time, so wait for him to improve. This is our championship leader, Gabriel Salomon for Altson Motorsport Black, as Votta moves to the top of the standings for Fanari Racing. But as Rudinger, in fact, even goes faster. The time's getting faster and faster. We've got 5.5 minutes left of the session, but this man was very impressive last time out.
Most definitely, and I believe he's now been moved up to pro deservingly. He put on, as you say, a very impressive first round, as Rudinger again goes into the 37s. That was a really impressive lap time from him, and yeah, he might be the man to beat today, the German at his home track. He's got another German behind him, and well, unsurprisingly, all the Germans seem to absolutely adore this track. Gabriel Solomon comes around the final corner. What's it going to be for him? He goes to first now, a 35.1.
Wow.
Wow. What a lap.
As Bramey moves up into second position. Nice time there from James Bramey for altitude. Well, we were impressed by Rudinger's first lap, and it's been beaten by a fair few times. Anders Meyer is the next across the line. He goes to fourth position in the session. So, yeah, some absolutely colossal times being performed by the Gyros right now.
It's really amazing. And like I said, qualifying just produces a lot of action, and it's very similar to Monaco in that sort of way, where you just see these drivers on the ragged edge of these cars just pushing it all the time, trying to gain those little margins. Higgins now goes up to fourth place with a 37 dead, and I think there's only a few drivers left still on the lap time, and the drivers that are at the top right now I don't think have enough time left in the session, because unfortunately, I think with the heat format that we have, when the quality session ends, it just ends.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a bit unfortunate. So once, even if you're on a lap time, that's going to be it. As Pennington, Pro-Am driver, goes up to sixth place, as Nicholas Nold actually goes on to pole position, beats Salomon by a 10th. It could be them two again today. I think they were the ones fighting for the race win last time out, and well, they might be about to do it again.
I think that is very possible. I'm looking out for other purple sectors. Watch out for Glenn Key. He's set a purple sector earlier on this lap. Ferrari's not going to get that high up. Yeah, only 13th for our Pesk driver. Glenn Key actually went back to the pit, so yeah, no improvement for him. Oh, maybe it was Nick Madsen, actually. I think it was Nick Madsen who is like a bit promising, but I think he's back in the pits as well. And so there are very few drivers still going at the moment. I think Tim Balicki's just moved up to 30th position, one place behind his brother, Luis Balicki. This man's still going, Carl Friedrich Hersaug. And what are these sector times like? A lot of personal best. I think this might be enough for Hersaug to get up in the top 20.
It's looking like a decent lap time as Lazaros in front goes up to 26th place. Not a bad lap time from him. Around the final corner we go. What's it going to be for Hersaug? And it's up to 20. Well, you got that one spot on, Sam. He is in the top 20. Good call there. And also, quick shout out to Gordon Marshall as well. At the moment, the AM driver in 17th place, he's way ahead of the rest of the AM field right now. He's putting on a really, really good performance in qualifying at least. We'll see if he can keep that up during the race. Igor Kos, probably going to be one of the last drivers to come across the line. Is he going to improve? And it is. It's up to P9. That's a decent lap time from the German. And unfortunately, your prediction of Hersau getting in the top 20 has, well, now come to an end.
Yeah, it was short-lived, wasn't it, for the Norwegian? Still got a few more drivers to cross the line. Got Afonso. Is Rodriguez on a lap? No, Rodriguez is on a lap as well. Rodriguez looking quick, actually. Luis Rodriguez currently 19th place. But Afonso as well is improving. We've got Thiago Pereira out on circuit, but he's not going to reach the line in time because you're absolutely right earlier on, Aaron. The timer will run out when they cross the line. Valtteri Kaleo has just moved up. Also, Johan Palomino moved up to 35th position. Quick rundown, by the way, of the format for tonight. So we've got this 20-minute qualifying, and then there's going to be 2 heats, 3 laps each, which should be about 21 minutes. And then the top 15 from each of those heats go through to the final. There's no B final, it's just a final. And that will also be 3 laps as well. So Rodriguez across the line and moves up to 11th place impressively.
Yeah, seeing some of these drivers getting just their last laps in, not sure Alfonso is going to be able to challenge too far up the field. He's on a decent lap time at the moment. Probably should put him within the top 25 at least. It's definitely an improvement from him, but not sure exactly where he's going to be able to put his car. But I mean, you know, when you're doing these kinds of lap times, like you said, Sam, you know, a second gap at this track between first and second could be, I think, around 4 to 3/10 on a normal track, which isn't too bad. Because, I mean, even if you cut the lap times in half, it's only half a second, which is about 3 and a bit minutes. Alfonso now crosses the line. Is it going to be an improvement? Actually, no, didn't have the best final sector at all. He was nearly 2 seconds off, so some kind of mistake there. But that is going to be the end of qualifying. And, well, already a really exciting session.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure what was happening with that. I mean, it's the start of the season, so you're still sort of figuring out what the pecking order is, and it seemed to change a lot. But our pole sitter overall, and our pole sitter for this race 1, is going to be Nicholas Nold for Impulse Racing. He is on pole position ahead of James Bramy. Gareth Higgins lines up in 3rd position. Luke Pennington is top of the Pro-Ams. He's up there in 4th alongside Igor Kos and Luis Rodriguez. Then it is Jensen, Farrier, Wolfson, who was very strong last time out. Gordon Marshall, leader of the AMS Championship, way ahead in the AMS in this race. Then it's Hersag, Quattrup. Expect him to gain places. So too Glenn Key, Lazarus in 14th. Then it's Mokes, Tim Belicki, Thiago Pereira, Johan Palomino, Tobias Olsen. Again, Olsen looked good in practice, but he didn't perform in qualifying. Gordon Haugen 20th, then it's Mordecleve, Langberg, Agard with 4 Norwegians in a row. Van Put, Molliord, and Nick Horn rounding out 26th position, the lowest I-rated driver in the series. Let's see how he can do in this race. And this will be a rolling start, but a single file rolling start, and for us to get this race underway.
I definitely think that was the smart thing to do for today. I think single file would have been... Well, I don't think I need to comment on that. I think the official series do standing starts.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember I did do a official, I think about a year ago, on the standing start, and it's very awkward since I was a bit far down, and you kind of have to accelerate really quickly, and then there's the last corner. Bit of an awkward one, so I definitely think going for a single file rolling start here was the most sensible choice we could have, and hopefully we'll get through lap 1 relatively cleanly, but let's be honest, it's the Nürburgring.
Benke taking a while to get onto the grid, but he just about got onto the grid in time. And so, well, the lights will go out and the safety car will start crawling along at about 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. And Nicholas Nold will take control of the field as they start to pull away. Oh, I feel like of all the starts, this is one of the most nerve-wracking starts being around this Nürburgring circuit. There's really nothing quite like it, Aaron.
No, not really. Especially if we were doing the full Nürburgring, including the Grand Prix track, that would have been even worse because you've got such a long run down into turn one. I think I understand why it's a bit nerve-wracking here, but at the same time, it's very unlikely you're going to be lunged at into turn one. So, but then again, the first sector is very, very chaotic, and if one person in front of you has an incident, well, yeah, they may as well red flag the session at that point. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking for the fact that it's just the Nürburgring, but I think most of these drivers are going to be all right into turn one, and I can already feel the curse coming. But we're about to find out what's going to happen.
Here we go then, Nicholas Nord from the pole position. Green flag is about to come out. Nord puts his foot down, and we are away racing at the Nordschleife. And Nord has a comfortable advantage going into Sabine Schmidt's corner to open up this first lap. Behind him, I'm not seeing too many dives into turn one. The driver's doing the right thing and not overtaking before the start-finish line. And so there'll be no changes in the 26 cars. But I'm sure there will be, as this part of the race just becomes a matter of staying close enough to stay in the slipstream, so you can go for a launch on one of the many, many long straights around this circuit.
Even though this track is, well, incredibly long, of course, one of the longest in the world, very famously, there's only like a few real overtaking opportunities. I'd say 3 or 4 on this track that make actual sense. Of course, if a driver in front of you makes a mistake, then it's very, very easy to just overtake them. But if you're battling wheel to wheel someone, I guess this is probably one of the first real opportunities. And there is some cars going side by side, you can see there. It's a very tricky one because of the up and downhill nature, as these cars tend to want to take off all the time. I believe this is Jensen trying to defend from Faria behind, as Faria didn't have the best of qualifying. So I think he qualified 13th overall, and of course 8th in this heat. And he's, well, as you said, nothing's really changed so far, surprisingly. No, and I've just said that Van Putters, I believe, made a mistake somewhere, and he's down to last. But apart from him, and Nicholas Horn has just overtaken Van Hout as well. But yeah, staying relatively clean at the moment, and well, I'm rather surprised.
He just getting past Quattro for 12th position. Nice work from him, albeit Quattro might be able to come back. It's all very close right now. You can just see them in the foreground of that shot. The battle for 12th position. But it looks like they will stay the same key up ahead now, of Quattro ahead of Lazarus and Moat. Now the top 15 go through into the final. Uh-oh, what's happened to James Bramey? This is a connection issue for James, but he's popped back in again. Hopefully his connection holds on to the end of the race. But like I was saying, top 15 get through into the final. It is so important. Sure, the B final is usually a backup for the drivers. They do not have the backup this time. Yeah. And Simon Muldercleave is not going to get into the final tonight because he is far away from it after a spin. That's a late spin. He's gone very far after the corner, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if he just had an awkward exit, maybe onto the grass or something. And, well, that's exactly what he did. Yeah, just rode way too high on that curb and got on the grass. And, well, this car isn't the easiest to put the power down. And, well, he just found that out the hard way. And, well, I don't think it's a down and out for him. It's, you know, I don't think he's going to be catching too many people anytime soon. That's Jensen. Again, still defending from Faria. He's doing an amazing job of it so far. Olsen and Palomino going wheel to wheel as well. Olsen, as you said earlier, looking quick in practice, but didn't really do anything in qualifying. And this is another one of the big overtaking opportunities here at this track as Faria gets onto the grass. This is a bit of a slipstreaming zone. Seen Max Verstappen go side by side in GT3s here a few times. Faria now pulling away from Jensen on the outside. This could be a bit touch and go. He's going to have to be super brave on the outside. Jensen holds the inside nicely. Really, really good defensive driving, but that is Faria getting into, I believe that's Wolfson, who actually manages to keep it on. That's someone else going off as well. That's Marshall, who, again, is doing fantastic in an AM. He's up to 10th place right now, but was just pushed onto the grass along with Wolfson. But amazingly, Sam, they've all managed to stay alive.
Man, that was 3 times where he could have a car spinning off and into the rest of the field, and they managed to survive it very impressively. And so, yeah, Jensen remains in that P7 somehow, but he has been under pressure for the entire lap. And Farrier's even closer now, but he can't do anything with it. I think Wilson will be very annoyed as well by Farrier, because that was quite a big swipe to the left in order to block that part of the circuit. And yeah, could have spelled a lot worse for them. Still key holding on to this position against Quatchop, albeit you can see Quatchop for Access in Racing staying very close behind. And it's Lazarus and Mokes who barely got into the A final last time, and now once again on the fringes with Timberlicky right on these drivers and just behind them.
I think the appropriate word for Jensen is he's going to be absolutely fricked going down the back straight, as well, he's lost touch very, very quickly with the cars ahead. He's almost, no, he is 3.5 seconds behind Rodriguez pretty much at this point, which is quite a lot, especially in the early stages of this race. He's holding up the cars behind, and well, his teammate Wolfson in 9th place is probably going to get the jump on Farrier and him. So he's going to have to really, really work hard. I don't know how much the side draft works in these cars, or even if it's in iRacing that much. But those who have watched the Nürburgring 24 in real life know that the side draft is very, very important going down that back straight. Something's happened to Lazarus as he's gone off. Farrier has sent it, and that's Farrier into the wall, big time. Everyone's checking up behind. Marshall's made contact with him as well, and that was rather unexpected. I think Farrier went for a lunge there. He was so desperate to get past, and I gotta say, Sam, that wasn't the smartest move in the world from the Brazilian, as well. He's got the longest straight in the world, just a few corners after.
I mean, this will be a good litmus test to see how his damage is, because it's going to be costing him down the straights. And Bernardo Farrier could be in big trouble. He was certainly ahead for a moment, but it didn't last very long because he was soon into the wall, and now there's this huge train behind, and Farrier's not making many shapes. To be fair, he's not losing that much time considering the amount of damage he's got, so he might be alright to still stay in the top 15, but he's going to be a sitting duck on these straights as they've got a bit of bump drafting, and this is Quatchop getting back past Key, and Mokes going with him. Bad news right there for Glenn Key, who's down to 14th position after that. Looks like Farrier only lost the one place. Herzog is now up to 9th, but everyone down to now 16th place. Farrier in 16th, right in with a shout of getting into the top 15 from this position.
This is the thing about the Nürburgring as well in these heat formats, is the fact that if you just keep going, you know, drivers like Olsen, Polomino, Haug, Langberg, they could still have a chance. If these guys, like Farrier nearly just did, if they total their car and have absolutely nowhere to go, they could easily make it into the top 15 and make it through and grab some crucial points for the rest of this championship. As this is, honestly, I think this is going to be about half the grid's drop round for this season. I genuinely think it is, because it's so unpredictable. You just don't know what's going to happen. The drivers can be completely muddled up because some drivers love this track, others don't really like it. They're not that quick. It's one of the crowning jewels in motorsport, and it does like to throw a bit of a spanner in the works sometimes, but we've got some good racing up the front between Cos and Rodriguez. They're only separated by about half a second at the moment, and then 5 seconds behind as, well, I was about to say Jensen, but his teammate just overtook him, and I would not be surprised if that was a bit of team orders, as Jensen's not really had the pace at the start of this race.
Yeah, Jensen. Oh, that's wide for Wilson. He's going to be very close to the wall. And is he going to stay in the top 15? Yeah, he'll be fine in the top 15. But I mean, you can see how close everyone is. And now they've got to try to find their way past. This is very much single file with the way that the track goes from left to right and left to right. And he's just about ahead of Quatchop, who is in 12th place. So Quatchop got back past. No, apologies, it was Quatchop and Mokes who got past Key, wasn't it, on the Dottinger Hay, and Pelicki and Pereira, and of course now Olsen is up to 17th place. He's just got past Palomino, so Olsen can start chasing down these guys. We've only got a lap and a half in this race one to go, or heat one to go, and yeah, there's a lot of drivers at play, fighting in these 10th positions.
As we saw last week on Watkins Glen, about 50 to 60 drivers, they're all fairly close to each other, surprisingly. I mean, I know last week was a bit of an anomaly considering how short and Yeah, there's not that many corners at the Watkins Glen Oval, basically. But either way, it's still fairly close. I mean, all the way from Jensen down to 15th, they've all still got a chance. Actually, down to 16th. They've all got an opportunity here to get into a final. But yeah, while the action continues, we're just going to take a look at a quick replay of what happened to, I believe it's Lazarus, who I think started in 14th place, but just fell down the order, Sam.
Oh, well, this is a few moments after
That's not good.
Lazarus. Is he still going, Lazarus? He is still going, actually. So he has taken a faster pair, but you can see how broken that car was. It barely turned at that point. Here was the aftermath of it. That's that fast right, left, right. I think one of the most satisfying corners you can get, because if you just clip the curbs right, it is ever so fun. But it looks like Lazarus has slightly misjudged it.
Yeah, that's well, what happens here at the Nürburgring. It is so easy to misjudge some of these corners, and yeah, just really, really unfortunate for him. He was pretty decent last week as well. Was going fairly well, but this week just unfortunately doesn't look like it's meant to be, as he is a long, long, long way off, and I think he's going to be one of the drivers who definitely won't make it through today. And that will probably be his day done, and this will be one of his drop rounds. But this is the battle for P15 of Balicki. It's just about holding on from Paria behind, as the Portuguese driver is desperate to get past. And, well, when you're in a train like this, you're all slipstreaming each other. You just have to look for a weakness in the car in front. And it's a bit difficult at this track because, well, there's only 3 laps. You don't have that long to figure out where the guy is in front's weaknesses are. And you really have to take a few risks around here. And sometimes it pays off, but as we've seen a few times in this race, like what happened with Faria, it can end in, well, the barrier.
Thanks to everyone who is tuning in. Noshi64 saying hi guys, hi Noshi. And yeah, a few other comments. Buglar saying let's go Nick Horn, I imagine. He is now up to 23rd position, is Nick. He's having a pretty good time of it, keeping it very clean out there. And yeah, let us know who you are supporting, any thoughts you have on the races going on. We've still got 2 more races after this. I will also apologise for the cameras. It's totally my responsibility to make the cameras. And, well, despite the fact that we have Nürburgring combined cameras, I don't think we have Nordschleife cameras because we don't visit this circuit particularly often. So apologies that you have to see a lot of trees tonight. And yes, our producer is trying his absolute best at picking the cameras which don't just show trees, and he's doing a very good effort at it at the moment. So hopefully the next time you tune into one of these races on this layout, it will be slightly more satisfying to watch.
Well, I mean, the last time someone filmed a race here through the trees, it didn't end very well. So, yeah, hopefully we can get those cameras edited at some point. But yeah, you're right at that, Sam. We don't actually visit this version of the Nordschleife very often, which I'm quite surprised about. I mean, obviously we don't use the tourist version at all, really, for obvious reasons. And we only seem to come here in, I believe, Porsche Cups and Radicals, and that's probably about it. We don't really use it very often, which is a bit of a shame, since this is the traditional Nordschleife, the one which most of us sim racers fell in love with. But down this back straight, surprisingly not too many moves going on, and Olsen has actually just lost 2 places. Yeah, we expected him to catch up, but he's not really doing that at the moment.
Tim Balicki is trying to get past Glenn Key. This is going badly now for Key. He was as high as 12th place in the early stages. But he's at threat of dropping all the way down to 15th, and he to 15th, but he's held off Balicki, and now he's on the curbs, he's over the bumps, and he's going to go full defense, and it looks like it's going to be a three-way battle between Key, Balicki and Pereira for the final 2 spots in the top 15 places. The guys ahead of them have been able to make a bit of a breakthrough. But yeah, I think Olsen must have made a mistake. He's actually really struggling now as Olsen, and I think has probably hit the wall somewhere, trying to catch up to the pack. And yeah, he's out.
A bit of a shame for Olsen. I mean, me and you, Sam, we've both witnessed how good he can be, especially in Formula 3 cars. I've seen him a few times in Porsche Cups, and we know he's got the pace, but it just seems like in the races, he just can't seem to put it all together. We also have failed to mention that it is white flag. It's absolutely flown by. Only 14 minutes gone in this race and probably about 6 left. But so this is the final lap for everyone to guess in their positions. And I've got to say, the top 6 have been rather impressive in this first heat. The rest of the drivers have just been lacking a little bit, or just been stuck in traffic. But once again, I'd just like to say Gordon Marshall is doing an absolutely incredible job as an amateur driver, along with Balicki, who's just about holding on in 15th place. So could be no, jinxed it. He's now down to 16th place. He's just been overtaken by Pereira, but I have the feeling that battle is nowhere near the end of it. And they'll be hounding at each other as Key has now been overtaking. Key has made a mistake, I think, on the exit somewhere, and both Pereira and Balicki have both got past him. That could be it for Key today.
Yeah, I wonder if we could get a replay of that, because yeah, that could be very significant. Glenn Key, pro driver, was as high as 12th place, like I was saying a few moments ago. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't be able to get a replay of that one. But that was yeah, a disappointing mistake for the Racing Lab Esports Aztec driver. It's also been a change further up. I think Hersaug, did he get past Marshall? I think he may have done, and into 9th place. Also, of course, Wolfson. We saw Wolfson get past Jensen, didn't we? And not anymore. He dropped down to 11th place. I have forgotten. Did we see that?
Yeah, we witnessed. I think it was.
It
was I'm really bad at corner names here. It was like pretty much the end of like the first sector.
Yeah. The long right-hander. Yeah, I remember that one. Thank you, Aaron. You know, you were boasting about how much younger you are than me the other day, and you're demonstrating how you've clearly got many more brain cells.
Well, I mean, it wasn't too big of a mistake for him. He has only lost a few positions, but I definitely think Utzon want to get as many points as they can, as they possibly could be one of the teams to go for the championship this season. Whether it's going to be Utzon red or black, we will find out, of course, across the rest of the season. But I believe it was Faria and Hersau who were going at it against each other. But Jensen, who didn't really have the pace really at the start of this race, has just pulled away a little bit from the guys behind. Unsurprisingly, I guess, considering Faria, well, absolutely clouted the barriers. So, yeah, the Brazilian holding on pretty well in 7th place. In 8th place, excuse me. But yeah, Jensen just started to pick up the pace a bit, but still just lacking a lot of it compared to the cars in front.
Marshall and Wilson are very close. I think Wilson's going to get this one. It's not worth the fight, Gordon. And he eventually realises that, and Wilson's up to 10th place, but now losing that place. Oh no, there's contact behind, and are they both going to survive from that one? That is Marshall round, and he's still going. He is still going, and I thought that might be 2 drivers out of the race, but not for the first time. The recovery is monumental. It was not a battle worth fighting. But Marshall is still in 13th place. He could still be overtaken because he's got 3 cars who are going to get the draft on him going up the Dotzinger High. But for now, he's still hanging on to the top 15, now in 13th.
I mean, I think if he just puts the valve pedal down a little bit, he can get into the slipstream and moats ahead and be safe. But it's going to be a bit touch and go, and I don't know if Key is going to be able to get into this either. He's right at the back of all of this. And he's going to have quite a lot of slipstream, sure, but the guys ahead are also going to have a lot of slipstream, so he's probably in the worst position right now. As we've seen in this race, he's made a few mistakes, not had the best of pace either. Just as you can see there, the car just sliding underneath him. He's losing a little bit in touch with the guys in front. But of course, anything can happen here, and we'll find out who's going to be our top 15 at the end of this race. Something absolutely mental can happen, and we'll have a completely different top 15 than we've got right now. But surprisingly, at the end of this race, the battle for P4, all of them separated by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, this is really close up. We've barely shown the leaders. Honestly, there's been no overtakes in the top 7. Or top 6 at least for this entire race. Nola's going to win it by 2.2 seconds. Bramy might get overtaken by Higgins. Pennington might not be able to hold on to the Pro-Am win either. He's under pressure from Koss and Jensen. In fact, Koss has got past Pennington now, who is just starting to struggle on this last lap, but of course, overtaking there leaves you vulnerable for this next straight. And I wonder actually if Pennington's in the slightly better place, and maybe if he even deliberately gave up that position in order for him to have the run on this next straight. Up ahead of them, Bramy barely 0.3 of a second clear, and we'll keep an eye as well on what is going on behind for the top 15 places. Nolda 2 seconds clear. I think Bramy's going to lose out to Higgins, who is pulling alongside him and moving ahead now as they charge down to the final couple of corners for the final time in this Heat 1. They're all going to get through to the final. Higgins moves past Bramy for second position. Now there's contact with Rodriguez, and he's going to go wide as Pennington, but he keeps it roughly in a straight line. He will not have too much damage, and he's going to give up the position. Koss is going to win out of the Pro-Ams. Who's going to get in the top 15? Pereira being bumped along by Balicki, and it looks like he's going to miss out.
Yeah, this is what I thought. I just didn't think Key would have the key. I see what I did there. But he is going to try it. This is going to be a last send into the final corner, but sensibly doesn't completely send it and take out Balicki. And that was at least some fair racing at the end there, with Rodriguez letting Pennington back pass. I just think it was... They were both really wanted to finish in first in the Pro-Ams, but unfortunately they just ran into each other, and Koss just ran off into the distance and took the win in the Pro-Ams. And we didn't even mention the fact that, Nicholas Nold, he won by 1.8 seconds. It was a fairly dominant display by the German at his home track. And, he's going to be one of the drivers to definitely watch out for in this race, along with Solomon, hopefully, in the next heat. But I'd say that was a pretty good start to the day, wouldn't you, Sam?
Very good start to the day. Nolda wasn't that much faster than the rest. I don't know if he was pacing himself, but really that gap that he formed, like 2 seconds, he pretty much got that in the first half lap of the race, and then it just stayed the same. He broke the draft and just kept it the same from that point onwards. So, good stuff from the Impulse Racing driver, but it wasn't totally dominant. He's not in a different league to these other drivers, at least. Final few drivers crossed in line. Agard Olsen was the one driver who didn't finish the race, and dare I say, I think Lazarus may not have finished the race. I think he's towed back on the Dotzinger Hoe, so that will be his race done as well. I'll give a quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy, the touch sponsor for this series. Thanks to them for providing data packs and setups for all the drivers in this series. They will get a free 1 month subscription to Apex Racing Academy, and that gives them access to setups and track tutorials designed by some of the best drivers in iRacing. Michael Yanni is the coach for the Porsche Cup car, and he is extremely well regarded and extremely useful to get you up to speed. And they're coaches just like Michael for a variety of cars on iRacing, including GT cars, touring cars, single seaters, rallycross, NASCAR, and many others. Let's have a look at the grid then for this Heat 2. It is Gabriel Salomon on pole position ahead of Philip Hammer. Leon Rudinger, who led for most of the qualifying session, he lands up in third. Then it's Godestad, Meyer in fifth, Hereford, Votter, Moldovan, Christiansen, and the top of the Pro-Ams is Joey Pedrick. Then it is Aidan Young making his return to the series. Michael Pedersen is in 12th place. Then it's Nick Madsen, João Carlos Afonso, Luis Balicki, Leon Erger, Samuel Sproul, Emil Koopmans, Valtteri Kalie, and all the AMs with each other. Asfalg, Bjorkland, Breivik, Perry, Livingston, Mikkelsen, and Patrick Thompson in his first ever race, replacing Thomas Cope for Olympus Esports. He is in 26th place and with a lot of work to do.
I just have a sneaky feeling that this race is going to be ever so slightly more chaotic than the one we just watched. When you have that instinct feeling that something absolutely horrible is about to happen, I just have that in the back of my head. Just something telling me that on lap 1 we're going to have about half the grid left. I don't know if it's just me, but something's making me nervous. But I mean, the man that's probably more nervous than me is that man, Gabriel Solomon, on pole right now. He's got this race to think about, and then the A final. Can he take the win in this heat and then go on to take the win the A final, he's thinking so many things, and we're thinking even more things about the thing. We're just about getting ready to go, but let's see if I'm a prophet or not, and if everyone gets through cleanly or, well, ends up on the other side of the barriers.
I might have that same feeling as you. I feel like the drivers around that 15th place are going to be a bit more competitive. It's going to be a bit more racy for this heat too. Here we go then. Gabriel Salomon, the winner from last time out, a perfect score. Can he keep up his 100% winning record in Apex Racing League? He leads us away. And once again, there are no moves going into Schmidt's corner. It is Salomon pulling away and now needs to try to break that draft ASAP on this first lap.
Just the biggest thing around here is that, just trying to break the toe. But when you have such a competitive field, it is one of the more difficult things to do. Just trying to edge out as much as you can from the cars behind. I've just heard a spin, possibly. That's someone hitting the barriers.
Yeah, scraping along the barriers, but I'm not seeing anyone hit the barrier.
No, neither. I'm not sure if people are just being a bit experimental today. I don't know. Actually, I think it might just be the cars bottoming on the curb.
I think so, yeah.
Which might be confusing me a little bit, but either way, turns out I was wrong. And so far, anyway, everyone's made it through relatively cleanly. And yeah, good job, guys. We've got a battle for P2 already going on as Solomon just starts to edge away by 6/10 already. Rudinger, I think, is just going to hold back for now, which I think is the smart idea. Going for these lap 1 overtakes is very, very risky with everyone in such close proximity to one another. Try and outbrake another driver, and well, you'll probably end up in the rear bumper of the driver in front of him. So just go a little bit easy. All right, it's the Nürburgring. Don't go too mad, and you'll probably make it through. As Erger makes his way past Berlicki for 15th place. That is a crucial overtake. Breivik, I think, has lost a few places. He's losing time, and he's falling down the order as we speak. He's just gone from 22nd all the way down to 25th. But apart from that, I think we're all right, as Pedersen might have just gone a bit early on the brakes, but is still going strong.
Yeah, Pedersen got past Young for a bit, and then Young got back past him, so he's back up into 11th place. Asphalt, I think, has crashed. That sounded a bit more violent of a sound, and he's lost a lot of time as well. There he is. Yeah, he's hit the wall right there. So that's him back to the rear of the field. Currently, Kim Andre Bjorklund, the leader of the AM drivers. And here it was for Asphalt. Is he going to be helped around? Oh, no, it's a late dive. It is a late dive, and I think Thomas has only himself to blame for that one.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. It's just not the smartest thing to do on lap 1, unfortunately, and yeah, just caught himself out a little bit there. I don't know if he just went too deep on the brakes and tried to avoid the car in front, or if that was a genuine overtake attempt, but either way, the race has pretty much fallen away from him, as Afonso in front has got a little bit of rear damage. I don't know if that's just because the rear of these cars is extremely sensitive to pump drafting, but I don't know if he's been rammed on this opening lap. It's looking ever so slightly bent. Knowing these Porsches, they're rear engine, so I don't suppose they would have enjoyed that much. But I mean, I have to say, Solomon is setting some pretty good lap times at the moment, and I genuinely think he could be better in the race than Noel when we get to the A final. And it's going to be Solomon versus Noel, 100%, and that is going to be a beautiful battle to watch. But for now, we're focusing on the battle for P5, P6. I apologise for that, as Hereford has just lacked that opening lap pace. It always seems like there's that one person who's just lacking a bit of confidence on this opening lap. We had Jensen in the last race, and now Hereford in this race, just holding up the guys behind us.
Rotter, who, as Berlicki's got back past Afonso, by the way, that's for 15th position. And Afonso has lost a better time. I think Afonso may have gone off at that fast left-hander. And it's now down to 17th place, so the Portuguese driver unlikely to get into the A final from this position, as the laws of these Porsche Cup cars slam on the carousel. Of course, this isn't real life, so they will take the inside of the circuit and to get the absolute most speed possible. But there is Afonso now, a little bit detached, and down 3 places. A couple of comments in the YouTube chat. I think you, Nika, saying that Afonso may have got some taps from Luis. could have been from Bilicki, could have been from Erga, because Erga also passed Afonso earlier on in that lap. Dean Moak saying, let's see if Thompson can get into the final. Starting from the back did Patrick Thompson. He is up into 21st position. He's up 5 places. He's got another 6 to gain in order to get into the advancing spots.
It's even lower than that. He's only got about 5 after Bilicki's just started to fall back from the cars in front. So the P15 battle could be even more intense than the last one, because in Heat 1 it was from pretty much I think around P13 to 16. Now it is literally P15 all the way down to about P21. And Thompson has made a lot of overtakes on this opening lap, and he's been rather impressive. But of course, starting from the back is not ideal, but still got a chance. Still got about 2.5 laps to go, as Rudiger really pushing the limit of this Porsche Cup car through this last sector of this track, as he tries to get as close to Hammer as he possibly can. As of course, Hammer's not going to get any slipstream down the Dudley, and Solomon has blasted off into the distance. Got to stand behind, not going to get any slipstream either, and Meyer probably not going to get any either. It's just, in this top 5, it's just started to separate a little bit, apart from 2nd and 3rd, and we'll see who wins in this battle. But as they come round the Dödinger onto the main straight, Hammer versus Rudiger, both Germans fighting it out for 2nd place. At the end of lap 1, 260 kilometers an hour in this car at the moment, now up to 270. You can see he's just gaining, but honestly the slipstream down this straight isn't actually as powerful as you'd imagine. He is gaining, but not by all that much. He's gonna have a bunch more straight to try and get this overtake done on the inside line. Of course, I'd probably root that Rudiger is going to take this place, and I think Hammer's there just backed out smartly. I think he's got plenty of other opportunities in this race and in later races today, as Votter gets past Herford as well for 6th place. That's very, very close. Moldovan trying to sneak his way in there as well, but just nothing doing there. Thompson up to 19th. He is making gains, Sam. He really could be a fighter for P15 at the end of this.
7.1k is Patrick Thompson, a driver who I'm not familiar with, one of the many Scandinavians in the series representing Denmark, just like our race leader. And yeah, he's now 4.5 seconds off Luis Bilicki with a bit of clean air as well. I think he could well catch up to the car ahead of Emil Koopmans by about the midway stage of this 2nd lap. So he's got a very good chance, but cannot waste time passing these drivers. He has not wasted any time so far in his quest for that top 15. And reminds you that top 15 are the drivers who get into the final. There's no B final, there's no second chance. It is just the A final tonight. And so it's crucial for the drivers to finish in those advancing spots.
I think what is going to be more crucial for is that amateur championship, honestly. With the fact that I think in Heat 1 we had 1 or 2 amateurs that went through, and this race doesn't look like we're going to get any. So this round is going to be really, really important for those AMs who obviously sometimes just want to fight to get through into the A final. And some of them have done it very impressively. And another impressive thing, that's Moldovan trying to go for an overtake on Herford, but Herford's having absolutely none of it. Moldovan there just locked the front tyres and just couldn't get the car stopped. And unfortunately, he's going to have to sit behind as well for about the next minute or two. There's not really another overtaking opportunity, unless he's very, very optimistic. And he might be about to prove me wrong. But let's see what the Romanian driver can do. He's looking rather feisty today. But up to P8, basically where he started. And I'd say it's good enough. But does he want those extra few points? It's that driver's urge, isn't it? Is it going to cost you a chance at the A final? Do you want to risk it, or do you just want to play it safe? It's one of the key things you think about in these types of races.
Yeah, Bogdan's not usually one to hold off whenever a move is possible. He will go for it, as here is a move. Pedersen's, apologies, this is Young who is under pressure. So Madsen got past Pedersen. Pedersen, I was about to say, has been struggling a bit, down 2 places really from where he was, because he overtook Aidan Young on lap 1, lost it almost immediately, and then he's lost another place to Madsen, who's now to the back of Young, who will be up a couple of places from his race start. Well, that's a little bit of a wide line there for Pedersen, but actually it looks pretty good. Yeah, it's just the way that he takes that corner, as Thompson has got past Koopman. So Thompson up to 18th. You can just see him in the background. He is now, well, he's now about 7 seconds. No, sorry, he's 3.8 seconds from the top 15. He can definitely do that.
All I'm going to say is Thompson went 2/10 faster than your race leader on that last lap. And I'd just like to say as well, I was saying at the start of this that Solomon might be the man to beat today. I've been absolutely proven wrong. As when Rudinger got past Hammer, he's put the hammer down. To be honest, he's really gained on the Dane super quickly, and we might have a fight for the lead on our hands here, as the gap is shrinking down ever so quickly. It's now down to under 1/10 of a second. Is Rudinger going to go for the lead of the race at this part of the racetrack? No, and I think that is the smart thing to do. Still got 1.5 laps to go. Not really entirely worth it to risk it at such a tight corner. He's got plenty of other opportunities across this lap and the next, so can just sit behind, try and put a bit of pressure on Solomon, force him into a mistake. But as we saw last week, Solomon is ice cool and can be absolutely amazing at defending when he wants to be.
Yeah, what a performance it was from him to hold on to the lead for so many laps, particularly in that A final. He started from pole position and he pretty much never let it go, and was eventually the first man to reach the checker flag on his Apex Racing League debut, taking a perfect 130-point score. Right now, it would be 3 wins from 3 for Solomon to start this season. And just a context as well, what he's doing, 4.8k as Solomon. Albeit, I think just a couple of weeks ago when he signed up this, he was 3.9. So he's getting 900 iRacing in a week and a half. So that's sort of a demonstration of how good he is and how good he is around this Nordschleife circuit, because I'm fairly sure he would have gained 90% of that with this very car track combo.
Yeah, definitely. He's been absolutely on it. And honestly, Sam, I think we could be seeing a rising star in the Porsche Cup scene. I genuinely mean that. He's been absolutely fantastic in that opening round, and so far has been amazing today. Little bit of a squirrel there, and I believe you said based on iRacing alone when he joined, he could have possibly been an amateur driver.
Yeah.
He's showing right now that he should be anything but. He's really proving himself out there, but we saw his defensive skills last week. Can he pull anything out the bag today? As these Porsche Cup cars nearly taking off as they go through the bumps here. You can see the front tyres just lift off the ground. It is terrifying stuff, but these drivers keep it pinned. And, wow, the confidence that these have in these Porsche Cup cars around here is something you have to admire. Whatever, series you're watching, whether it's this or Pesk, it's just absolutely fantastic to watch. But this is what we've been waiting for the past few minutes. Is Rudinger going to go for an overtake, and will he be a challenger in today's A final, or is Solomon going to pull an absolute masterclass and do some kind of Sergio Perez action down the straight? Here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. The German right on the back of Solomon's tail, gaining ever more. Solomon pretty much has reached the top of his rev limit, as Rudinger gaining more, probably about 5 to 10 kilometers an hour faster down this straight. We saw Rudinger get past like this a lap ago. Is it going to happen again? He's pretty much already nearly fully ahead. Look how powerful that slipstream is for him. Solomon just about keeping a nose in. He's on the outside line. I think Solomon might have to back out here if he wants a chance to finish this race, but he's going to keep it pinned and stay in the lead. That is what I'm talking about. Gabriel Solomon keeping the foot in and keeps the lead of the race. That is some fantastic defensive driving, and leads onto white flag here at the Nordschleife.
Wow, that was gutsy stuff. As you were saying, you were anticipating that if he wants to stay in the race, he has to back out of it. But he was willing to risk everything in order to go for that move. And he was much braver than Rudinger, who knew that an extra lap was still coming for him to gain that extra place. Meanwhile, we've got a train from 6th down to 14th, but then there's a gap to this man, Luis Belicki, and then it's Patrick Thompson, who I think has had a little bit of an iffy second half to that lap. He wasn't gaining quite as much time as I thought he would do. Luis is a very good driver himself, and Thompson may not make it through here. And in fact, Thompson's having issues.
He made a mistake.
Thompson has lost out to Afonso now, his own teammate. What is going on for Patrick Thompson, who was only going one way earlier? And I reckon he's got damage, because this is a big slowdown in pace for him.
I can't really see anything wrong with his car. I think Afonso is going to let him through now. Yeah, that's definitely team orders there. I think that's the right call there. He's probably their best chance of getting through. He has lightning pace, but like you said, just that last sector, maybe the pressure's starting to get to him, maybe a little bit. I can't see any damage, maybe a bit of a slowdown. But if I'm going to go off anything as a driver myself, I just think it's a bit of confidence that he's lacking. The stress getting to him a little bit. He's got even more ground to make up now. 4 seconds on this lap. And, well, he's faster than Bilicki, but only by a second on that last lap. And I thought he might be able to make it through. But honestly, unless there's a mistake from one of the drivers ahead, it's going to be a really tall order. He's going to have to break some lap records if he wants to get through now. But, never say never in motorsport. And I'm just keeping an eye out for that lead battle, as it is still under 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, and just for reference as well, Bilicki's last lap was a 6 minute 40, leader 6 minutes 38. So like Bilicki's only 2 seconds off the leaders right now. So yeah, unlikely, and yeah, will definitely need to be a mistake for Thompson in order to progress. Rudinja had an opportunity to pull alongside earlier on in this lap, but he just decided to sit behind about a 1/10 of a second back and did not go for the launch. Philip Hammer now within a second of these drivers. He could be in play if he can get himself within half a second. Going on to Dotting Ho, and something's happened to Young. Is Young all right? Has he got damage? I think he'll stay in 14th place for now, but I think the big thing is, has he hit the wall and therefore hurting him around the rest of the lap? That car looks all right apart from the back of it, but judging by some of the cars that we're seeing earlier on, that's not necessarily a crash.
And
Sproul has crashed.
And Pedersen as well, something's happened to him. So many things going on this final lap. This is Pedersen right now, as he might have something
so this
happened.
is Bilicki.
He got a front row view of what happened.
Oh, wow.
And that was a huge hit for Aiden Young. And then I think something happened to Pedersen a few corners later, but this is with Aiden Young, and I think he just got a little bit loose through this corner, and that's just, honestly, that's just Porsche things. That's just the way this car handles, just maybe a bit of lift off oversteer. That's what it looks like to me, and just didn't have that much confidence in the car and just looped it round, and he's going to be in a bit of trouble now, as that car does not look healthy at all on the rear. But there's battling still going on further up front, just for these last few points from 7th all the way down to 11th place. Nick Madsen, of course, I've been racing alongside him for the past 9 weeks in ARL prototypes. I wonder who won in the championship, but he's doing pretty good at the moment. Been to 11th place. He will be, at this current time, going through into the A final, and I think the Mac Performance driver can be pretty happy with that. Few things happening as further down the order. Sproul has had a few issues. Koopmans has lost a bunch of time. I don't think they're going to be the drivers to make it through today. Unfortunately, they've just not had the best of races. So they'll just miss out for now. And we didn't even notice this. Rudinger has got past Solomon for the lead, and Hammer's not too far behind either.
Yeah, that was whilst we were watching the replay of Young. It was that middle part of the lap, the very fast section, and then the fast left, and I think that was where Rudinger was able to get past. He's trying to pull away, and actually the gap that he's got now, half a second, most of the time since that overtake has only been about 0.3, so that is quite a big gap for him. If he can get it a couple of tenths more than that, he might be safe on the Dottinger Ho on the last tour of this circuit. We know Salomon doesn't possess a whole lot of fit. He will go for it. Rudinja, I think, a little bit more of the percentages. Remember, defending champion, beat the likes of Michael Yanni and several of the other drivers who were qualified for PES this year, Bernardo Faria as well, in last season's competition, just 6 rounds, and he's looking to defend his championship here. But the gap back down to 0.3 of a second. He could well be very vulnerable on this final run to the line.
As Alfonso has just come in to retire from the race, he's had just issue after issue in this final, and a bit unfortunate for the Olympus driver. As the other Olympus driver, Thompson, getting closer and closer. As we come onto the Doninger Her for one last time, 0.5 of a second between Rudinger and Solomon. I'm not sure Solomon's going to be quite close enough, to be honest. It's a bit of a big gap, and it is coming down quite a bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be tough, but like you said, Sam, earlier on, he possesses no fear, this man, and I think that's one of the most impressive things about him. Is coming down a lot more than I thought it would. He's going to go to the inside line. Is this a strat that Rudinger thinks is going to work, picking the outside and then the inside? A little bit of contact between the two. Let's hope they can keep it clean all the way to the line. More contacts, as that is Rudinger going for it into the wall. And Solomon is going to win the second heat of tonight. And Hammer overtakes as well to get second place. Rudinger wanted that win so badly, but he kind of just went in way too deep, and you can see the extensive damage to that Porsche Cup car. And well, what another amazing finish we've had to this race. Thompson as well, not able to get into the A final. He put on an impressive performance, though. He will be one to watch for the next few rounds, but that was an amazing end once again to the heat races, Sam, and we've still got one more to go.
Yeah, that was quite something. Utinja, it didn't quite position his car the right way both times. I think it was the same scenario both times, where Salomon was on the correct side of the circuit. It's 3 wins from 3 so far this season for Salomon, and he will be starting on the front row of the grid for the final. Top of the Pro-Ams, by the way, was Joey Pedrick. Top of the AS was Kim Onje Bjorkman, but 17th position for Bjorkman. Not enough to get him into the final. Thompson missed out. Patrick Thompson, 7.1k was not enough for him to get into the top 15 after starting from the back. So Luis Belicki qualifies for that one. As well, we're now into the warm-up. 3 minutes for the drivers to cool down and for us to cool down. It's going to be quite a long meeting. We've still got another 35 minutes until we can probably wrap up the show, honestly, Anne. But I'm looking forward to this final race where we see these top guys who seem so evenly matched tonight go at battle for 3 tours of this Nordschleife.
I mean, I don't know about you, but usually sometimes when you do broadcast, you are constantly checking the time, and you're like, okay, we've got this many minutes to go, and I don't really want this to end. It's a joy to watch. It was an absolutely amazing watch last week, and it's proving itself once again this week. And I think you said at the start of this broadcast that last week was one of the favourite broadcasts you've ever done. I'm definitely going to agree with you there, and I just think this season as a whole is going to be fantastic to watch. I'm kind of glad I'm not racing in it, though. I think I would be terrible, and I'd be terrified pretty much all of the time. So I'm very glad I get to sit up here and just criticize people from my high horse. I'm very glad I'm not part of these drivers. I wish I was quick in a Porsche Cup car, but it's so much fun to admire these guys go wheel to wheel, and drivers like Solomon who have the bravest hearts I've ever seen, and the confidence that he has in this car. He still has a 100% win record, which no other driver has, so he's got one more chance to lose it, but I'm not so sure he has. I don't know if he has the outright pace, but his defensive skills are, well, incredible.
Yeah, they really are. Of course, he's got to show his attacking skills, because so far at least we've seen no taking on lap 1 because of the single file starts that we have. So he will need to get ahead at some point and hold on to it from that point onwards. But quick shout out, by the way, to a couple of our other sponsors. VRS is one of them. VRS, of course, providing hardware with their wheelbase, their wheel rim, and their pedals, used by sim racers, including the Apex Racing Team squad, also used by ESL R1 at their LAN events. Of course, that's going on in a few days' time, Friday and Saturday, the final from Jonkoping, and that sort of demonstrates just the quality of VRS's equipment. If you want to check out and get your own VRS equipment, do go to either vrs.racing or apexracingsim.com in order to get yourself some equipment. We thoroughly recommend it, as just the drivers getting those extra few laps. I think even the drivers who went out earlier on can go out on circuit in this warm-up, so everyone can have a go.
You are correct, which I never understood, to be honest. I never really used these warm-up sessions to go out on track. I just used it to get a drink, to go to the bathroom, or just mentally prepare myself for the final few races that happen on an evening like this, because I just think when you've had the craziness of those first 2 heats, the number one thing you need to do is just calm yourself, because if you don't, you're going to go into the final race stressed and worried and a bit tense, and it could very easily cost you a decent race result.
Yeah, it's it can do. I never went on circuit for those warm-ups. Let's see if it works for these guys. Nicholas Nolder on pole position once again. Gabriel Solomon in second position. Gareth Higgins lines up in third. Philip Hammy gets promoted to fourth then, ahead of James Bramy. And Leon Rudinger, who was hoping to be on the front row, instead he's going to be on the third row for this race. Igor Kostas top of the Pro-Am. So it's Anders Meyer in 7th place, Luke Pennington, Joe Vegard Godestad, Luis Rodriguez, Felix Botzer lines up in 12th place, yeah, Jensen, Hereford, Barrier, Moldovan, Hersaug in 17th, Christensen, Wolfson, Hedrick, Quattrup, Madsen, Mokes, Erger, Marshall getting into the final once again, Pedersen in 26th, and then is Pereira, Young, and the 2 Belickis rounding out the 15th row.
We've got an exciting final race on our hands, and I feel bad for the people not watching these races, honestly, I really do. It's such a joy to watch, and it's amazing racing, it really is. These Porsche Cup cars have always been known, both in real life and in sim, for just being completely bonkers to drive, but to watch, they've just been an absolute joy, and every single time they just put a smile on your face and want to make you watch more and more. And I can't wait for each Tuesday night now. It's absolutely amazing. These cars just, I will keep raving about this series. I promise I'm not being paid. Well, technically I am, but you know
you're not
being
paid to promote it.
Yeah, it's so much fun to do this, and I'm loving it so far. We've got one more race to do. Take it away, sir.
Yes, Nolder, he knows what to do from this position. He's done it already tonight. He's done it many times in the past. He rounds the final corner. Bit hesitant to get on the throttle, but now he's out of the final corner. He can launch. Salomon not far behind whatsoever into Sabine Schmidt's curve for the first time. Salomon, Higgins in third position. That's Hammer and Bumi. Already Farrier's got ahead of Hereford, so nice start for him in 14th position as the drivers fire through for the first time in this first sector.
Higgins has also had a very good start. He's up from 5th. As Bremy had a horrible start. He's down 2 places. As I'm not going to make the same mistake. No one's hitting the barrier this time. It's just the cars scraping across the curbs. As well, in these cars, you can absolutely eat the curbs. They can handle them like a pro. And if you try to take the curbs like that in Formula cars or prototypes, well, you'd probably be left crying at the other side. But it's been a fairly clean start so far. Not too many incidents. A couple more overtakes than we've seen in the previous races. And the likes of Farrier, as you mentioned, getting past Hereford. And Higgins also. I was about to say he's had a good start. Buemi, I'm not sure if that's an internet problem.
Connection. Yeah.
I believe it is. Yeah, he's having some issues. As I think we saw in the first heat, he was having the same thing. Hereford has also lost a huge amount of positions. He was in 15th. He's now down to 20th. A couple of issues for some of these drivers at the start of this race. Of course, final chance for everyone to get those points in. Koss and I believe this is Rodriguez going side by side. No, it's Godestad, Rodriguez and Koss. All of them separated so closely, a 10th of a second, but just go single file into this corner, which is the smart thing to do. As
well,
we've seen
wide.
So that's very wide. That's Pennington, I believe, just checking everyone up. And you can see how awful it is for the drivers behind. So eager to get on the throttle, but none of them can. And they're going to go side by side. Not really the best place on the track to do it. But hey, this is your last chance to do it tonight, so why not?
And he looks inside, does Jensen, trying to do something about these drivers. He's stayed in 13th position so far. But yeah, it's Hereford down 6 places. Might get a replay of what exactly happened to Hereford. Also some changes with Koss, losing out 3 places to Meyer, Pennington and Godestad. So Pennington now the new leader of the Prams. There's still Gordon Marshall leader of the AMS, albeit he stayed in his position overall in 25th. There's also been a move for Rudinja. Buemi is having a poor start. He's down to 6th now, is Buemi. He at least isn't disconnected. He was glitching in and out earlier on. But yeah, he is now down into 6th position behind Rudinja, and we might get a replay of that instant earlier on.
Yeah, it's just a couple of incidents to pick up on. I said it was a clean start, and then everyone decided to make it not such a clean start. But this is what happened to Hereford. I'm going to guess over this hill, did he just take this corner a bit too quickly and end up on the grass very wide? And yeah, that's exactly what happened. And oh, he actually hit the wall. That was a massive hit. For Hereford, I was expecting it just to be on the grass and maybe picked up a slowdown or something, but no, he's got a bit of damage on the front of that Porsche Cup car, and I think it's going to end up hindering him a little bit over the course of this race. Farrier's now gotten ahead of Jensen, as well as Jensen actually chooses to fight back. We know that these Utzon Motorsport cars seem to be very, very good at defending, no matter who's driving them. So Jensen doing a fantastic job, as he did in Heat 1. Hammer now trying to get past Higgins, as Jensen's still going side by side with Farrier. I believe these two have made contact before. And yeah, let's hope they can keep it a little bit cleaner in this race. As that's Jensen going wide and hits the barrier. He's going to lose a few positions. And he tries to keep it clean as Higgins loses more positions to Rudinger as well. But he's managed to keep it going. But that was a scary moment for the Dane.
The whole field from 10th position down to last. We've got 20 cars, all in an incredibly close line right now. I think this man, Luis Rodriguez, is at the front of absolutely all of it. And the Dotzinger Ho is going to be a sight to behold when we get round there in about half a mile's time. Well, actually a couple of miles' time, most likely. As here is Hereford at the threat of losing more place. He has lost another place. He's now down into 21st, He's having an absolute mare now behind Nick Madsen. There was a change as well. I think he may have mentioned it, Aaron, for Philip Hammer. So Hammer up into 3rd position. Also Rudinja up into 4th. So Gareth Higgins losing 2 places in the last couple of minutes and is down into 5th. So plenty of changes. And I think we might get a replay actually of that Philip Hammer pass. It was once again in that middle parts of the lap where he was able to get it done.
Yeah, this is where we typically see the most overtakes on lap 1. This is the first opportunity really you get of a good slipstream, and very brave from both drivers. This is one of the most committed corners in the world to go side by side for, and that was a fantastic overtake there for Philip Hammer to promote himself into the podium places. Let's see if he can hold it, as Solomon and Noel are separated by absolutely nothing. Basically a A4 sheet piece of paper. Rudinger will be a bit disappointed in himself. He definitely had the pace to compete at the top, but just made that mistake on the final lap of Heat 2 and is now paying the price, stuck 3 seconds behind and behind Hammer for 3rd place.
At the front of this train, I think, was Roger Christiansen, or Mads Jensen, sorry, and he will be a sitting duck on the Dotzinger Ho. He is going to be overtaken by a few cars, I think. But these two are making a break through it, with Hammer and Rudinja having to get past a couple of slower cars, it looks like, in order to get closer. They're now 3.2 seconds behind. And Salomon, who is unbeaten so far this season, well, dare I say, it's only a matter of time till he goes for the lead, as he goes left and then right. He sells the dummy to Nolder, and Salomon is up into the lead for the first time in this race. Rudinja, meanwhile, he powers past. I think Hammer will be happy to sit behind Rudinja. He realizes how quick the German driver is, and they will try to tow their way back up into the lead battle. Meanwhile, Rodriguez chasing down Pennington, albeit the Pro-Am leader, has been able to make a bit of a break for it. Behind that, Farrier and Votter, and Farrier's gone across, and is going to avoid Votter. No, he's not. He's bounced back into him, and now these other drivers who are all racing each other have to try to avoid, and that was very unlucky there for, I believe it was Votter.
Yeah, that was big contact for both drivers. I think Votter's, I'm surprised he didn't come into the pits, to be honest, since he was, well, right there. He could have taken his fast repair and probably gotten, you know, be in a quicker car right now, but chooses to stay out instead and not lose too much time, as it promotes Balicki and Marshall, not quite Marshall actually, he's still 1 second behind, but like I was saying earlier, it's going to be crucial for that AM championship, with these drivers actually getting into this A final. Solomon, of course, showing his bravery once again, choosing that outside line through the final few corners, which seems to work for him. And well, no drivers have figured out to cover that line yet. So I think once Nold or maybe even Rudinja figures that out, they might be able to take the challenge to Solomon. But I mean, like I said before, he is literally the Minister of Defence. He's done this 2 weeks in a row, and he's going to be one to keep an eye out for, not only in this series, but just in the future.
Yeah, he really is. 3 seconds now back to Rudinja. He's starting to cut it down a bit. Half a tenth faster in Sector 1. Actually dropped a couple of tenths in Sector 2 and Sector 3. Actually, have we gone through Sector 3? No, to be fair, we haven't gone through Sector 3. Ranger's gone through Sector 2. Gosh, it's a long lap this, isn't it? 10 sectors around this lap. Anders Meyer's got past Joe Vegard Godestad. He's up to 7th place now. Is Meyer, who I thought had pulled out of the series, frankly. He inclined he might be that way, but instead he's stuck with it, and he's proving why he is one of the most formidable drivers in GT cars on Apex Racing League. And yeah, now ahead of Valkyrie Excite 2 Apex Racing League veterans going at battle. Luke Pennington only 3/4 of a second behind them, doing an amazing job as a Pro-Am driver.
Yeah, some of the Pro-Ams have been rather impressive today, not going to lie. Pennington, I think, got a little bit unlucky. We're going to see the Pennington, Rodriguez and Kos battle for the second time. They've really been the top of the Pro-Ams, beating a lot of the pros today. They've been really, really impressive. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of them got promoted into pros. They've been rather impressive, but could be just a one-off since it is the Nordschleife. We tend to see that here as Nold really getting on the back of Solomon now. The gap doesn't seem to shrink between those two. They are absolutely neck and neck, and it's going to be a last lap lunge from both of them. And I'm kind of getting the feeling it's going to end in tears. I'm not sure, but I feel like on this lap anyway, this second lap, one of them, or at least both of them, might be a bit cautious, as you know, there's still one lap to go, still plenty of opportunities. But on that last lap, it's all or nothing. They're both going to try and break as late as humanly possible, like we saw in Heat 2. And it could end very, very badly, very, very easily.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Over 70 people watching. It's awesome stuff that you are so engaged. And well, please do leave us any comments you have in the YouTube chat about the racing that is going on. And of course, do also leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel because we've got loads more racing like this, including this series. We've got 8 more rounds to go. And check out the Apex Racing League and Apex Racing TV social media accounts on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, because we have bonus footage, and one of the bits of footage was posted from last week's race at Watkins Glen in this series. The photo finish we had in Heat 2. Moldovan has just got past Kos, it looks like, so that is for 11th place. Lots of changes, I think you mentioned it beforehand, but lots of changes in this race so far. Moldovan himself up 5 positions. Really impressive from the Romanian driver to be able to carve his way through the way he has.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers have just got a bit more confident in this final A-final and just been like, yeah, why not? Let's just go for these overtakes. We're going to see how we did it. Maybe it was a bit of a wider line for Kos, who might have made a mistake. Moldovan is a bit far back here. You can see there, Kos, I'm not sure if he just let him through. Yeah, that was very, very weird. He kind of just let him through there. Not sure if that was intentional or if he had a slowdown, as Sam mentioned, but yeah, either way, Moldovan is up to 11th place and Kos is just following him. Maybe a bit of a tactic. Moldovan, as we know, is a very quick driver. Kos maybe using it as a bit of an opportunity to try and catch back up to the cars in front. Bit of a tough task. They are about 2 and a bit seconds behind the likes of Rodriguez, Pennington and co. But like I've said many, many times in this broadcast, anything can happen. It's the Nordschleife. It's a dice roll what's going to happen on each lap. And well, speaking of dice rolls, Solomon just starting to pull away a little bit, but they can never seem to get away from each other completely. It's always around half a second, and then coming onto the Dodinger, it just goes all the way back down to, well, level pegging again. And I'm not complaining. Gives for an absolute great watch.
We had a change for the amateur race lead. Tim Balicki is now the leader of that one. He's now in 26th place overall. Oh, someone's in the wall. Someone is in the wall. That is Ursal.
That's Quadra.
who has...
Well,
is it Quadrup as well?
It's I saw Quadrup going off a bit in the background as well, but Herzog, as you mentioned, yeah, just getting in the wall, and it's not even the final lap yet. We've still got plenty of wall riding to go. As onto the Doninger we come. Herzog, I don't know how much damage he's got on that car. We've seen the Porsche Cup just be a bit like bedrock in these series, and yeah, as you mentioned there, Solomon just... Actually, I was expecting Noel to go for it there, but no, he's just sitting behind.
Maybe they don't want to bring in Rudinger and Hammer into the fight, and maybe Nolder wants to be second going onto the Dossinger Hill on the last lap. But so far, whenever guys have gone up against Solomon into that final corner, they have come out unsuccessful. Ooh. Well, that was nearly unsuccessful because that looked like guaranteed contact, but nothing quite happened between those cars. Very little reaction. That is Madsen now up 7 places for Mag Performance, up ahead of Rodriguez and Pedrick at the end of this one. Rodriguez, who was catching up to Pennington in 10th place, he's had an instant and is back down to 12th now, lost out to Koss.
I just spotted that. He lost about 3 seconds there. And we're just seeing a few more overtakes and also a few more mistakes in this race. Unsurprisingly, this A final is, of course, the driver's last chance to really do anything. And both heats, maybe some of the drivers were just holding back a little bit, taking it a bit easy. Like we saw Nold at the end of Heat 1, I definitely think he was just backing off a little bit to secure that win. He had a 2-second gap, so why not? But in the A final, people pushing, people taking a few more risks. As in the first heats, you just want to make it through. Now they've made it through. They've said, right, I want to get as many points as I can. Let's just push, go for as many overtakes. Why not? Let's put on a show. And these drivers are definitely succeeding at the latter. They are putting a smile on mine and Sam's face all day long. I can't wait to see what happens at the end of this lap. Jensen has already been in the walls earlier on in this race and is still in 13th place, going quite well and holding off the guys behind. But I think there was a bit of bump drafting there. Hereford's race is now going from bad to worse. He's now made another mistake and has fallen all the way down to 22nd place and could even be 23rd if he's not careful.
Edison for Altson, close behind. We've had that battle from 10th down to 30th for this race, and it's just breaking up as the race goes on, but you can still see it's still pretty long queues, and the longest queue that remains is Herzog in 18th place all the way down to Pereira in 24th. Herzog might have damage as well. We did see him slam the wall on that previous lap, so yeah, he may have aero damage and is just hanging on through these corners. Queuing up behind. Leon Erger has had shown some good pace. I think Erger's qualifying just let him down, honestly, because in the races he looks really quick. Could still get a top 18 finish for him, which would be crucial points in his Pro-Am Championship fight.
But Apex TV are regretting not doing a studio broadcast for these now, as would have been quite the spectacle.
Oh, something's happened to Rodriguez.
Something big has happened, yeah. As that's Mokes and Rodriguez. I think something has happened to Christensen as well. That's been huge for 3 drivers there, and that's completely changed the midfield of this race. And we're going to get a replay, most definitely, of what just happened. And it's still going on a bit behind, with drivers just checking up and trying to get past one another. But we're going to take a look at what happened. I believe it started with Jensen, either that or he had the front row seat of the entire thing. And it's the last lap, people going for it, and oh, that's too late from Jensen. Once again, I don't know if that was intentional or just was way too late on the brakes.
Yeah, just a mistake, I think, that one. And he hit Rodriguez, who's now at the back of the field in 28. So Rodriguez is also like 18 places, I think, from that. What a shame for Rodriguez. Yeah. He was looked like he could win the Pro-Ams for a while, but yeah, he just went too deep on the brakes and was trying to avoid him from that point onwards. Erger under huge pressure from Quattrop. Hasn't been a good day for Quattrop. Erger covers off the inside line, and that's what he needed to do, and he needs to try to get past Herzog if he possibly can, who, like I said before, may well have damage and is not the driver that you
Here we
want to
go.
be stuck behind. He's going to look to the inside, but it's just not narrow enough, the wide enough the circuit. Goes wide though, does Hersag. He's going to slow him up. Quatchop realizes that there could be an opportunity because surely there's going to be no way for Urga to be able to take the underline. He has to lift out of it to get back onto the inside of the circuit. Otherwise, he would have lost even more positions. And everyone survives those final few corners, but they've still got half a lap still to survive of the Nordschleife, and that battle from 10th down to 30th, it's almost back. It's 10th down to 25th now.
Yeah, that incident earlier on has just bunched the field up again, and well, let's not forget that we've still got a battle on the lead on our hands. I've mentioned this a couple of times over the past few weeks. We really do need to have some kind of, similar to what Sky Sports had, where you can just have an app and just watch everybody, because there's just so much to watch in this series. It's incredible. We've got battles everywhere. One for 6th, one for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. You get the point. It's incredible, and it's so good to watch. And of course, we're seeing drivers push on the absolute limit, sometimes going over the limit, making mistakes and ending their race, or even worse, sometimes ending each other's races. And that's Hersag pushing the limits to stay in 17th place. He's just losing time with Jensen a bit in front. And, well, Jensen, after that earlier mistake, has, well, he's probably been the driver that's actually gained the most of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got a post-race penalty for that. Of course, it was completely not intentional, but yeah, those kinds of mistakes really do cost drivers races. And of course, Rodriguez will be really annoyed with that. He's down in that last place. Madsen now gets past Koss as well for 11th place. But we're going to cut away from all of that now. This is what we all wanted. We've been waiting pretty much an entire hour and a half to see who is going to come out on top. Solomon versus Nold. This is round 2. We saw it last week. Who's going to win this boxing match this time? Is it going to be Nold? Is it going to be Solomon? Solomon choosing that inside line, technically the outside line, depending on which corner you want. Again, we've seen him do that so often. No driver has been able to beat him yet. Nold has got so much overspeed, though, that I don't know how much Solomon's going to be able to do here. We've seen how brave he can be, but I think he's just lost too much time on that straight. He's going to be as brave as he can. Bit of a wheel-to-wheel contact, and he gets ahead again. He's done it again. Gabriel Solomon gets ahead. The bravery from the Danish driver comes out. Nold is going to give it everything round the outside of the final corner, separated by 1.5 tenths. Incredible finish from the two. Hammer's made a mistake. That's big contact. That's 3-4 cars involved there. Everyone's going to have to be careful. More contact. 5 cars, 6 cars, 7. That is a huge crash on this last lap. Everything happening. We had an incredible finish for first place. And then it all happened behind. It's still going on. I believe that's Jensen as well who's been involved. We're definitely going to have to get a replay of what happened. But all the way... I don't... If you're wondering why we're laughing, someone in chat has just said, how did I just pick up 10 places on the last corner? I think that sums it up absolutely perfectly. And I believe that was Aiden Young. He couldn't have said that any better than we could have. What an incredible finish to this race. And I need a drink. Oh my God.
And Salomon is still unbeaten. He did it again. And it looked like Nolder was almost an entire car length ahead. He was 700ths of a second ahead was Nolder. I think if he was another 200ths further ahead, he would have been able to cover off that line. But instead, Salomon just did what he's done all night long, send it on the left side of the circuit, and it works for him again, and Nolder was fairly passive. He'll take the points for Nicholas, but Solomon now with a strong lead in the championship after 20% of the season. Let's try to get a replay of what happens behind them. It was chaos.
Yeah, it was just absolute chaos. It started, I think, around 11th place, and then it just carried on and on and on. I think that there was genuinely... Remember what I said at the start of this race? Do you remember what I said? I had a sneaky feeling there was going to be a big one, and look at your screens. There was a big one, and that was about half the field being taken out. And yeah, there's just so many angles from this which you need to get a look at just everyone. It started off with, I think, 3 cars
Yeah,
initially.
I think it started off with Wolfson. So I wonder if we
Yeah,
get Wolfson's replay originally. Um,
it just all kicked
because
off.
he was that car spun round.
And yeah, just it's so much happened on that last lap. It's so difficult to keep up with it. It was genuinely like a nuclear chain reaction. It just kept on going on and on and on and on.
So that's Pedrick, who he's alongside Wolfson here. And
Pedrick
Pedrick
just went
doesn't
into him.
quite turn enough, does he? And then
Yeah, that's
I think
three,
is that Goddestad
4,
who gets
5,
no
6,
Christiansen gets
7,
wiped out the car ahead,
8,
and now of course they just keep
9,
on
10.
bouncing back into the middle of the circuit.
I'm
And then
just
obviously
trying to keep I'm just trying to keep count at this point.
Hercel cuts the track, has no brakes on the grass, and wipes out. It looked like a geodesic car. Maybe. Oh yeah, it was Leon Erger who was unlucky to be hit by Hersalg. Erger then spun round, blocked the track, and there are like 3 different piles going on. It was such a clean race, such a clean meeting
Until then, yeah.
until the final corner.
I can definitely see so many posts going on social media, not only just from us, but just from loads of people. That was an incredible finish for many different reasons. The battle for the lead. I think we had a few other battles as well going on for the podium. And then, of course, that absolute just what on earth was that midfield calamity? But I think we're going to have to take a look at the results, which I think about a minute ago were completely different to what they are now.
Yeah, so Solomon wins out ahead of Noldo. Rudinja wasn't far off those guys in the end. He was cutting down the gap on that final lap, but it wasn't quite enough for him. Then was Higgins. Meyer finished up in 5th place in the end. Got aside, Bumi had a difficult race. He started in 5th and just dropped back a little bit, which was a bit surprising for Altitude Esports. Luke Pennington was top of the Pro-Ams by a comfortable margin in the end ahead of Moldovan. Hammer dropped down to 10th. I can't remember what happened to Hammer. We may have seen it on screen, to be fair, but I've forgotten what happened. Madsen was in a very strong 11th place. He went up 11 places. Koss then was in 12th, and this is where the area where the mess happened. Pedrick was arguably the cause of the mess. He finishes in 13th place nonetheless, ahead of Quatchup and Christiansen, who got wiped out actually in that mess and still managed to finish in 15th somehow. Then there was Erger, who was also wiped out, I think, but he got to 16th. Then it was Young, Pedersen, Belicki Pereira, Hersalg, who kind of caused the secondary shunt, Hereford, Mokes, Votsa was in 24th points for him, Marshall in 25th, Rodriguez, Jensen, and Wolfson, who was right at the front of all of that mess. Farrier and Belicki of the Luis variety did not get to the end. By the way, shout out to Tim Belicki for winning in the amateur category. Let's have a chat with a couple of our drivers, and I think the first man we're going to have a chat with is Aidan Young, who joins us in the comms box now. Aidan, what a chaotic event that well, to be fair, it wasn't as chaotic as what we thought. It was certainly a chaotic finish. Welcome back to the series, first up, and how does it feel after your first race back?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels just like I remember it. You know, everybody's good. They're super fast, which makes the league super fun to compete in. I honestly didn't expect my first event back to go like this. I thought maybe I wouldn't do that well, but I mean, I'll take a 6th place. And in that last lap of the final, I was like, I saw the wreck happening. I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna end well. And all of a sudden, I see a gap open up in the grass. I was like, well, here we go. Here goes nothing. I just go right through the grass and somehow avoid all the carnage that happened, not without a little bit of wing damage though.
Yeah, you gained. I mean, how many places did you gain? Was it like 6 places?
11.
Wow, so I saw you gained 11 places overall, and you gained all of them on that final few corners. That's pretty incredible stuff. How did you find the racing? I mean, that Heat 1, whichever heat you were in. I think you had a bit of a setback late on in that race. Yeah, talk us through that one, because you looked very competitive, running sort of around that 10th position.
Yeah, so I was in Heat 2. I was fighting for 9th, 10th position. I was in 11th, and I don't know what section it is, but I know it's after you first get to the Nordschleife. You kind of go through it a little bit. You drop down a hill, there's a left, and then it's like almost just a continuing right-hander before you drop back downhill again. I got there, when I turned into the corner, it was like as if I had no rear wing. I just turned in, and all of a sudden the rear end said, no, you're not making this corner, and I lost the car and went into the wall. So I ended up dropping to 14th, and then I had a good little battle there with Louis Balicki there for the last half of the lap, and managed to come out in front of him, finish 14th, which didn't put me into too great of a starting position for the feature, really, but nonetheless, it was fun, and I enjoyed it today, and somehow finished the race.
Yes, that is an important element. Well done tonight, Aiden, for getting that main point and getting a good result. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, my team, Fiercely Forward, all my teammates for, watching and supporting me, and then Nicholas Nolde for some tips and tricks for the track to try and help me be a little bit faster tonight, because before this I had no practice, so his tips quite helped me for tonight, so big thank you to him, and I'm sure he's listening right now, so big thank you there, Nicholas, and congrats on P2.
Nice one. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Aiden, and see you back next week.
Yep, see you next week.
Aaron, who would you like to drag up?
I think it's going to be an absolute no-brainer. Excuse my voice, you can understand I'm on the ropes after that race, but Gabriel Solomon, the man of the hour. You have a 100% win rate in 4 races, which I said this during the broadcast. I truly believe that you will be something special in the future if you keep this pace up. Just talk us through that race. It was such a joy to watch you and Nold go at it.
Yeah, it was incredible. An incredible race. Nord's is one of my favorite tracks, but I haven't really been fast at it. So I've been practicing my ass out every day, and been trying to make up that time. And I've really just gotten comfortable with the car. Yeah, it was an amazing race. He won like the first race. I was not expecting the guys from behind to come up that fast. Even the first race was amazing, and then me and Nicholas at the last part here, the incredible racing, awesome racing.
And it very could have easily ended like we saw just 10 seconds back, but you both kept it clean. And I mean, the bravery that you showed on the defense, going on that outside line every single time, it's like people just didn't learn at all. Every single time you were going towards that outside line and just being so brave and winning every time, but just no one could seem to get past you. And well, I mean, it was a pretty flawless race from your side. And would you have done anything differently? I mean, you won, so probably not, but anything else you could have done?
In the final, I pushed the tires pretty hard. So at the last, lap, it was kind of sketchy. So but honestly, no, I wouldn't really have done anything differently. It was an amazing race, and my heart was pumping out my chest. It was incredible.
I honestly wish we could have a heart rate monitor for you and Nold on that last lap. It would have been probably in the 200s somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely dream start for you in the championship. And well, we've got Bathurst next time out. How are you feeling towards that? Do you think you can, carry this 100% win rate into 3 races?
That's the plan. Quite a task, but I'm gonna try my best. Bathurst, I love the Bathurst track. I really love it. One of my favorite tracks of all time. Just like the brutality of the track. It's what I like. I'm not necessarily fastest driver around that track, but I'll get there before next week.
I mean, in fairness, you have said you're not fastest here at the Nordschleife and at Watkins, and you won both times pretty convincingly. So, I mean, it seems that the tracks that you think you're not quick at, you just seem to go and win. So, yeah, you're not going to be quick at Bathurst, and then you'll win it anyway. But yeah, thanks for coming with talking to us, Solomon. And before you let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course. Once again, the team Outs in Motorsports. They're really helping out a lot and really backing me up, and the entire team. And then I'd like to thank all my teammates, for the all the work that we've done together and all all the stuff that we've analyzed to get to a nice place where we all had some kind of pace.
Well, thank you for coming and talking with us, Gabriel, and congratulations on the 2 wins tonight, and good luck for Bathurst.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
Well, Sam, we talked to our race winner, and I'm going to have a random guess who you're going to talk to next.
I'm tempted by. I think we'll have a chat with both Tim and Nicholas. I'll have a chat though with Nicholas first. Nicholas, I mean, tough one, man. I mean, that was close, very entertaining race. It seemed like you needed that extra 100 to get ahead of him to cover off that line, but it seemed like once Gabriel had that left side lane, he was going to be very tricky to beat.
Yeah, exactly. I went when I passed him. I decided to go all the way to the right in the Dittinger Höhe to kind of avoid the side draft and him getting closer to me. Somehow that didn't work, and he was still fast and he was still side by side. And I think there was like a tiny second where I could have cleared him. Didn't go for that. And then I was just on the inside. I thought I was really brave in the braking zone by braking really late, and then all of a sudden Solomon turns up, is 20 kph faster than me under braking, overtakes me, and yeah, that was it.
He did the exact same thing in Heat 2. He was absolutely a weapon on the brakes out there. But you must be satisfied with those points. I mean, you sat comfortably in second place in the championship. A pretty good start to the season for yourself.
Yeah, it was quite good. I was a bit, I felt a bit down after Watkins Glen, where I threw away a P2 for a P6 finish. And then I knew for today I just wanted to score solid points at the front. That worked. Still, Salomon is too fast. Going to be interesting season with him, but not sure if I can stop him. Might need some assistance from other guys. And yeah, but overall, good round, good points. Philip was a bit unlucky at the end, so team championship is not really going our way at the moment, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you are going to push him all the way. Nicholas, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Aiden Young. I'm happy that he, before the season started, I asked him if he would return, and I think he said no. And now, earlier today, he messaged me that he will return. I'm really happy. I had some good fun with him last season, and yeah, happy you are here, Aiden.
Nice one. Yeah, we're very happy that you managed to get him back in the championship. Nicholas, thanks for coming out and having a chat with us, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nicholas Nolder there. I think we've got time for one more interview, and it will be with our amateur race winner tonight. Aaron, it is Tim Balicki, and I'll pass him off to you.
The honour is all mine. Tim, wow, I mean, the first and obvious question I've got to ask, you had a front row seat to what happened on that last lap, and just talk us through what was going through your mind, seeing cars just left to right, probably above you, below you. Talk us through what was going on.
Well, I was mostly just trying to survive and keep my place in the feature race, because I was happy to be there to begin with, to have made it through. And I knew I had space behind, and I saw them crashing relatively early on, just coming over the crest, and decided to just take it easy right there and slow up and see where everyone was going.
Yeah, it was just absolutely ridiculous to watch, and from a driver's perspective as well, it must have been just absolutely terrifying. And well, you came away with a victory in the end. And just talk us through how you're feeling about that as well.
The victory is really nice. At the end, I was like, for the crash, I was taking it easy, and I think I had a good timing. I made up like 6 or 7 positions, I think, through that crash, which will be good for my championship standings. But yeah, I mostly came into the race to survive and keep my positions and make grounds where I can.
Yeah, and well, you succeeded in that very much so. But we've asked a few of our drivers about Bathurst next week. Of course, one of the most famous tracks in the world for GT racing. And well, I don't know if I'd say it's tougher than this track, but it's definitely a challenging one nonetheless. How are you feeling towards that?
It was like on the calendar a few weeks ago, and I was practicing for it, but I haven't done a race then. But I was practicing for it, so I did get decently comfortable with the track. Just racing, I haven't done it yet, but I will be doing some races as well. Well, not maybe races because there aren't any, but I will probably be driving with my brother, doing some practice.
I'll get as much practice as you can, as well. This is going to be very, very helpful for your championship challenge. But yeah, before we let you go, Tim, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Not really. My parents are watching, I think, so they get a shout out. But if they are still watching.
Well, shout out to Tim's parents for tuning into the Apex Racing series. But it's been a pleasure talking with you, Tim, and good luck for Bathurst.
Thank you.
Well, Sam, that was an intense day of racing, to say the least. And, well, I said we need a heart rate monitor for the drivers, but honestly, next week I think I'm going to wear my Apple Watch during these broadcasts just to test to see what's actually going on inside of me, because I think it could be something concerning for the future.
Yeah, and it's not exactly going to calm down next week with it being Bathurst, is it? We've really gone to 3 very intense circuits. Watkins Glen Classic, which is a very sort of just racing-oriented track with the fact that it's almost like an oval. Then, of course, Nordschleife and Bathurst, which is half road circuit, walls super close to the side of the track. It will be absolutely thrilling. That will be on next week, so yeah, do certainly tune in for that. Of course, if you have enjoyed this broadcast, please do leave a like on it, subscribe to Apex Racing TV as well, and also check out our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Thanks to our sponsors, SDK Gaming, Virtual Racing School and Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this broadcast. And yeah, do check out all their products in the description below. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Aaron Smith and Joshua Wilkie, it is 4 from 4 for Gabriel Salomon. We'll see if he can back it up at Bathurst next week. We'll see you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.